Hello, I didn't go live the last time. Yeah, I'm back with my bad mic, and I just want to talk of things today about how the West is going to become the worst societies to ever exist. We've had 2 million years for humanity to evolve, and we've had 25 years of a new experiment. Um, and politicians say it's going to be fantastic, especially the London Mayor Sadiq Khan and that. But yeah, I just want to talk about a few things on this subject. The only subject that matters really on subjects you should be voting for. So you should be voting for the likes of UKIP or Social Democrat Party because they should be using elections as single issue elections. And yeah, just this Rochdale by election that's coming up, and everybody thought George Galloway was going to win it easily. And Keir Starmer abandoned the Labour candidate who seemed to be ideal, they said. And it would have fitted nicely with Labour's diversity policies and that. But he said something that he didn't like on Israel, and that was him. He was like, yeah, and even the theory that the conspiracy theory that he come up with, even that young lady in Syria who's trying to get UK citizenship back, and she didn't get it today. She failed at the court. I don't know if that's her right of appeals, or in the old days she would have probably went to the European Court, Supreme Court, but that's not on anymore because we've left Brexit, so she's not got that soft court to thing me. Anyway, back to even her lawyer. He was on GB News the other night on Patrick Christie's show, and he was saying even he didn't believe that conspiracy theory, and that's a guy who liked to tweet or said something about Afghanistan when it fell to the Taliban, when the Americans pulled it. He liked to tweet or said a tweet something like, in its natural way, back to its natural way. So that seems that for women, the natural way there is not going to school and stuff, but he seemed delighted about that. Even I think he's of Pakistani heritage, although that's where Afghans should have to go as refugees, and a lot were there. But apparently, 1.5 million get moved out recently. Yeah, I don't know how he feels about that. Anyway, on the Rochdale thing, yeah, George Galloway was supposed to he was bricks in with the bricks, and he has crowds wherever he goes, massive crowds of people who support um, a lot of his views. I don't know about feminism and LGBTQ plus. I don't know how they feel about that, but some could see George as a useful idiot. But yeah, Labour, so they disowned their own candidate because of what he said or whatever. He would have fitted nicely with our diversity thing. We're going to be a very diverse country, a united, diverse country. But it seems that he's not pulled out. This guy, so even though he's not going to be the Labour candidate, he's not pulled out. He's standing for election. He's going to turn up at the Lancashire County Council thing today. I guess as a candidate. I don't know if he's a councillor or what. Probably is. Yeah, but he's going to turn up, and it looks as if to me he's going to stand. And in my opinion, I think he'll beat George Galloway. And we've got 2 weeks to go. And I think what'll happen is the instant crowd that George always gets will totally disown George, and you'll have zero crowds next week. They'll all go to this other guy because they identify with him on all things, and maybe are not so keen on George's views on feminism and LGBTQ plus and that. So everything, they prefer the other guy that they can identify with him, because Guido Fawkes was showing you something about the council they done a thing about somebody up there. It was one of the female councillors who not got a name that I could pronounce. I would guess that she's very fond of South Asia. Um, and she was saying something like, I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with Israel again. And the posh Guido people didn't like that. Or, I like Guido. Guido's great. Don't get me wrong, but they've got the elite, the British elite view on Israel, Palestine, etc. I mean, Britain created Palestine. It created the borders. It called it Palestine. And where's Palestine now? So anyway, back onto this. Yeah, and she was saying, I don't know, it's genocide there or whatever. I mean, we live in Britain, so we can't really comment. It's an emperor's new clothes situation, so well on YouTube anyway. But yeah, so and it turns out that this woman runs a sort of dating agency that matches British men up with um, women from South Asia, probably I'm guessing just from Pakistan or whatever. It was called something like Tiger blah blah dating or something. Apparently this word tiger's important to them. And I'm presuming that it's meant to be for any British men to join that. But I'm wondering if it just sort of turns out it's only just one type. All the faces are, and you won't see many men of uh, black or whatever, that dating agency. So it looks as if it might be, it's an emperor's new clothes situation. You could wonder it might be a sort of an ethnic purity thing. And it turns out that guy from Morocco, who's now a Brit, who's on The Apprentice, he runs a dating agency for British men and North African brides. It happens to be from where he's from. Um, he was an NHS doctor. I don't know whether he came over here, was an NHS doctor for a year, got citizenship, and maybe didn't feel it working in the NHS anymore. I don't know what happened there. But what's her name? Jess Phillips isn't very, very keen on his views on feminism and that, from what he said. Um, although Labour is a party of all welcome and feminism, LGBTQ plus, and all welcome is the Labour still the pillars of British utopia, future utopia. So this Rochdale guy looks as if he's going to stand it, and that's what I'm wanting to say. I think he's going to win, and I think he's going to win. He's going to take all George's crowds not rent, George's crowds from him. So that means, because I'm wondering, like, for George, this is the third time he's stood for us, such a constituency, and he won the two other ones. One was a similar town up in the north of England. The next one was East London. I don't know if that's mainly Bangladeshi thing or whatever, but he said that went badly at the end. He said that to Resistance TV, Chris Williamson, and that. And I can't remember what he said, but I think it was activists who were always active for him that you can imagine what they're like. He said that they were wanting more of a say or whatever, or wanting to have positions in his team. And George didn't like that, so it went badly for him there after a while. And maybe he thinks because this is Rochdale, this will be like the other one that he won, but then he lost at a general election to Naz Shah, who liked to tweet about the Labour. She's a Labour MP who liked to tweet about the girls involved with the grooming gang should shut up for the sake of diversity or whatever. She liked to tweet like that. And Keir Starmer's all right with that. Keir thinks that's fine. Yeah, he lost that seat, so maybe he had nice times up in that other, was it Bradford or whatever? I don't know why he lost in the next election. Maybe it's because of the lady who was picked to represent them. But I think that maybe East London, it was too tough for him there because it's so it's so activist there in the new Parliament, whatever. I think that area's went to Aspire now. A very positive Anglo-sounding word. Look at their representatives to get an idea what they're really about. 23 men and one female councillor, um, and the mayor posed with the 23 males for their photo shoots and their brochures. Yeah, so yeah, that was just this thing with Rachel. I wanted to say I think George is going to lose at the moment. One bet fair is about 1.63. Whoever gets to one is the winner. So 1.63, and this other guy, the former Labour candidate, he's 2.64 or something like that. So he's not far behind this other guy. And then the next after that's, I don't know, the Tories at 50, and even the Reform guys at 100 or something. So no, only these two are in it. But I think they're all probably surprised at this Labour guy, ex-Labour, because he's abandoned them. He's looks as if he's got a good chance of winning. I think purely on probably identity, really, the opposite of what uh, Labour and Tories have told us will happen with the country. We've not to be like that. Got to be. It's not going to be like that. So, and I'm glad anyway because at least it's shown us the way. I mean, I've got total sympathy for the Palestinians, but even I didn't agree with his conspiracy. It was daft. He said he thought Israel deliberately made their defence not too soft there, so that the others would attack. But actually, they just left defences because they just get sloppy. Really, I don't think there was anything to do with that. So, and even Osama Begin's lawyer didn't agree with him, and he's the guy who liked the Taliban tweet or said this is a natural way or whatever, back to the natural way or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting. He's meant to be one of these Labour ones that were always going on about anti. We must stop anti this and that. So he was jumping through all the hoops that Keir and Rachel Reeves and that were putting for him. But then he done this secret talk at I don't know, a councillor meeting or something, private meeting of councillors who they all agreed with him or whatever, and agreed with their mindset or whatever. But somebody leaked the tape of it to Guido Fox. Guido Fox is an excellent site. So I just wanted to find out what else is happening. Yeah, I'm a big and it's been stripped of their citizenship, and I feel that someday the Greens and the feminists and the LGBTQ plus thingies will be asking for people to get stripped of citizenship once they see how the country is going to go. They'll be the ones campaigning for it the most, probably. That's a prediction for you. At the moment, they're the total reverse. But once they see how things are going, like we're seeing here in Rochdale, yeah, and apparently because of October 7th last year, what Israel did or whatever, or the other thing or what that Israel's doing, there's now a website called the Muslim Vote in Britain, Muslim Vote UK or whatever, and it's saying we're 4 million, we need to make our vote count now. So I'm guessing they're all going to vote as a block. Well, they will for a while, but you've got to remember that they're all British, but they're British Bangladeshi, British Pakistani, British Somalian. So they will all unite for one or two things, but then they're going to all splinter probably. But probably they'll unite to make UK very different in a way that I suspect feminists and LGBT plus won't like. So all those traditional leftists that march for the Palestine marches at the moment, they might be in for a shock, you know. Um, yeah, so I'll try and think of what other things have I got to say. I thought I could pause this, but I can't. Yeah, just a Rochdale thing I wanted to say. I think the ex-Labour guy is going to win, not Simon. blah blah, blah blah, the ex-MP for Reform. I think Reform's a bit of a sham party, really. I think people who are bothered about the one issue that you should be bothered about because it's existential and we're heading for anarchy. And if we don't do that, nothing else matters. One paying off tax doesn't matter if you're heading for anarchy. You need to vote either Social Democrat Party if you want to vote left. But they don't, they've not got MPs, not sitting everywhere. It's candidates. So that's frustrating. They've only got about 60 candidates for the next election. Or UKIP under Neil Hamilton. He's retiring in April, I think, or something. But his policy on this is a lot better than Nigel Farage's was, and even now. So you should look at him. And probably, I can't even say the other one, the First Britain, that sort of thing. That party as a protest vote. And if I say that, especially if you're into feminism or LGBTQ plus, as I say, like to Agnes and Jerry living in a flat in Easterhouse, you're totally confused over the last 20 years the way your area and block of flats has went. And you need to stop voting SNP and Labour because it's just going to become more confusing and not make sense. And it's going to end up anarchy anyway. So, no choice really. And I see, onto another issue, I see in Valencia there was a big fire in a block of flats and the cladding looks as if it's went up and that looks very similar to Grenfell and all that. But the interesting thing about Grenfell is we still don't know, 8 years later, we still don't know what actually happened. I mean, we know it's to do with a fridge and that, but we don't know, was it misuse or was it, if it was faulty, why was it faulty? Was it misused in any way? Still don't know after 8 years. I think that inquiry's still going. So I'm not a fan of inquiries because by the time you learn it, I mean, if there was something to learn, maybe it's a similar scenario that started over in Valencia. But you can't say we learnt from Grenfell because they've not published their results yet. So maybe something similar's happened in Valencia. I don't know. Because a lot of countries in many continents, they don't bother about health and safety so much, either at government level or at any level. A lot of countries don't bother with traffic lights and that. If you see the traffic through Delhi and places like that, they don't bother with traffic lights by the looks of it or anything. Judge a country by its queuing. But when I say a country, I mean the native people, because I think the UK is going to go that way as well, and the West, the whole West. In fact, the West is going to be worse than any country that's existed in the past because it's a total mix of countries, societies that don't want to live in their own area, their own place they come from. I mean, I could explain it a lot more, but I don't want to. I want to keep my channel on that, So we don't live in a free country, and yeah. Well, I'll just leave it at that. Okay.